Farm stories from the 70s. That's what we're going to tell on here. I am proud to be a farmer's daughter. I used to have a white t-shirt and it had red and blue lettering on it that it said, "I'm proud to be a farmer's daughter and Elanco is proud to serve farmers." I wore that thing till it had so many holes in it I couldn't even put it on anymore. I loved that t-shirt. Anyway, growing up on the farm is the best life ever. There's a lot of work involved. And in the 70s, everybody had livestock, so we had all kinds of things we had to work on all the time. But anyway, had a great time. It was a good life, very good life. So thought I'd share some of the stories with you. So one of the things that we did in the summertime was, of course, bale hay. And of course, you always did it on the hottest day of the year, or it felt like it anyway, and you never did it till in the afternoon. So it was really hot. So back then we did the small bales. We loaded them on the hay wagon, and then we had to use the elevator to get them up into the hay mow and stack them in the hay mow for the winter time when we'd give them to the cattle there in winter. So, or when we went to the county fair, you know, we had to have hay to take to the fair to feed the calves. So anyway, it was a hot job. It was a hard job. But there are times that it could be fun as well. So I remember one specific incident about baling hay, and I was probably about 15, and it was a hot summer day, and we had come in for dinner. Dinner is at noon, and then supper is in the evening, and a farm life, that's how it is. So Dad had said, well, you know, meet outside because about 1 o'clock we're going to go to the field and we're going to bale some hay. I go, oh, wow, this ought to be fun, you know, and because it was hot. And so anyway, my brother and I went, oh, yeah, okay, you know, we'll be there. Of course you were going to be there. And so Dad said that he had rounded up some of the neighborhood boys to help. And, you know, he started saying who was going to be helping, and I'm thinking, oh, now this might not be too bad after all. I mean, it might be a pretty good day, you know, because them farm boys, you know, were good looking and had muscles. So I was all about that. So anyway, I got to thinking to myself, I thought, well, I'll just plan to drive the baler. That will be my plan. So after we got done with dinner and we cleaned up, you know, the kitchen a little bit, Dad and Steve had already gone outside. So I went upstairs and changed, put on my shorts and my tennis shoes, and I put on this bikini top because I figured if I was driving the baler, I was going to have to, you know, get suntan while I was driving the baler. That was my thought, you know, put on the bikini, get some rays because you can't go to the local state park and go to their beach. So I go outside there about 1 o'clock, and Dad and Steve are over at the shop, and so I go over there and I'm just kind of messing around, you know, not getting in the way, just kind of messing around. And pretty soon my dad looks up and he said, what are you dressed for? And I said, well, you said we were going to bale hay. I said, I figured I'd catch some rays. And he said, how do you figure? And I said, well, I figured I'd be driving the baler, so I might as well just dress, you know, to catch some rays. Me thinking in the back of my mind, the cuties are going to be on that wagon and I'm going to be out there with them. I had a plan in my mind. So anyway, pretty soon my dad looks at me and he said, go change your clothes. You are not driving the baler. And I'm like, not driving the baler? Why? Why can't I drive the baler? My plans were going down the drain fast. He said, well, because you need to be up in the hay mow helping them stack so it gets nice and tight like I like it up there. The hay mow? I know, it's so hot. Well, you didn't whine much at Dad. You know, when he said you were to do something, you were going to do it. Now, my dad was not mean, but he meant what he said. So I go into the house and change into my blue jeans, my boots, and my t-shirt. I wasn't stomping, but man, I really wanted to stomp. So I get back outside and I end up in the hay mow, and I look out the window there where the elevator was sticking out in between loads, and Dad's driving the baler. and the cuties are on the wagon, or they're unloading the wagon onto the elevator, sending the hay up to us. I am in the hay mow with my uncles. And I'm like, really? Why do I have to be up here with them when all this is going on down there? Really wrecked my plan for the day. But I see these pictures of farmers' daughters, so they say, and they're in Daisy Dukes, and they're in their shiny cowboy boots, and they got their cut off little t-shirts on. And I'm thinking, you can't be a farmer's daughter because, number one, you can't get any work done dressed like that. And number two, your dad isn't going to let you out of the house like that. Proven by the story that I just told. So life on the farm was fun, but when we're 15 and we think we know it all, moms and dads are older and they do know it all, and they have been down that road before. So thanks for listening to my story, and we'll have another one for you soon.